Before we start off, I think that this draft was one of the best drafts this year. At the beginning, I wasn't entirely sold on the idea of Hamilton and Linderbaum. I really just wanted a corner that we focused later on the draft, but as soon as we got Ajabo and Travis Jones, I instantly changed my view on the draft. Let's first talk about Hollywood Brown. I do think that this was a great trade for the Ravens. Tyreek Hill was traded for a later pick than Hollywood. Think about that for a second. This does suck because of his connection with Lamar, but our scheme doesn't allow for him to work efficiently. Because of his departure, our wide receiver room consists of Bateman, Duvernay, Prochet, and Wallace. I think that his departure opens up a spot for a veteran receiver, but I think our young guys have enough potential to be a very good group. As for Kyle Hamilton, at the time I was very confused. Why would we need a safety when we just signed Marcus Williams? It didn't make sense to me. But now that I've heard that we are shopping Chuck Clark, I'm a little more okay with it. After watching tape, Kyle Hamilton isn't that ball hawk like Ed Reed. Even though I am hopeful that he will develop that skill to be that Ed Reed guy, he does his best work when he is inside the box as a linebacker, kind of. At 14, I really wanted Trent McDuffie, but taking the best player available in Kyle Hamilton is an okay option. The fact that this is a generational safety that just dropped in our laps is perfectly the Ravens summed up in a sentence. For Kyle Hamilton, I gave him a B. For now, let's just see how he pans out. Let's talk about Tyler Linderbaum. This is probably the weirdest player that the Ravens have selected this year. Yes, he is a generational center, and probably one of the best center prospects that we've seen in a while. But we already have a solid O-line. Macari would have been decent at center, and we had other glaring needs. As time goes on, I will probably love this pick, but for now, I am very concerned. Grade B-. For David Ajabo, this was probably the Ravens' best pick of the draft. They got a mid-first round guy that a lot of people were mocking to the Ravens at 14 in the second round. Granted, he did just tear his Achilles, but we did see Cam Akers recover very quickly. Ajabo came to the perfect team. He has so many connections here. Playing for another Harbaugh brother. Coming to play with Mike McDonald again. Playing with Odafe Owe again. Ajabo is almost like Owe a little bit, but he is a little more technically sound than Owe. Let's just hope that Ajabo continues his reign of terror with McDonald as his defensive coordinator. Grade A+. Travis Jones was a great pick in the third round. The Ravens just continue to draft really, really, really well. Having him learn under Calais and Wolf is just music to my ears. If you think about it, in a few years, we'll have Matabike and Travis Jones and maybe another one destroying the running game. Grade A+. I can't believe that Daniel Faha-Lele dropped to the fourth round. He is easily a mid-second rounder, early third rounder. If we really do want to build a wall around Lamar, Faha-Lele is the best addition. Faha-Lele is 6'9", 380. In a couple of years, when Morgan Moses retires, he will replace him at right tackle. He has a great tackle with tremendous upside. Grade A. One of our biggest needs in this draft was cornerback. I wanted one in the first round, but there was plenty of depth in the later rounds. We know that the Ravens love their Alabama prospects, and JAD is a great prospect. But he does have an injury history. But hopefully he has a better career than Amon Lewis Marshall. Grade B+. Charlie Kolar is just a prototypical Ravens tight end. He just gets open. He finds the open space, and his hands are immaculate. I can already tell that the reason that the Ravens drafted him was so that we wouldn't have to fail at the goal line on 2-point conversions anymore. Although he's a good prospect, he struggles to block, and that is pretty important in our scheme, but I have no doubt that the tight ends coaches will teach him. Grade B-. Jordan Stout. Ooh. This one was a head scratcher. Yeah, he is the best punter in the draft, but we have other needs. Maybe the thought was that Stout can take over for Cook, and when he retires, we can save cap space for a veteran receiver. Stout is the best punter in the class, and to get him before anyone else is just the Ravens' luck. Grade C. After drafting Kohler in the 4th, I thought that we had no chance of getting Likely, but here we are. I'm wondering if we could move Likely to like a receiver type, a hybrid between a receiver and a tight end. He plays like a bigger receiver who can jump up and get it, but it is going to be very interesting to see how Greg Roman uses him in the offense. Grade A. Marion Williams. I really don't know much about Williams, but if the Ravens drafted him, he's probably good. All I can say is that I hope he turns into something special. Grade B-. Coming into the draft, running back was a need, but it wasn't our highest. You never know if JK or Gus are going to be 100% when they come back. So why not go out and draft a guy like Tyler Batty? From what I've heard, he's gotten Ray Rice comps. So I'm not too upset about that, I guess. Apparently we had close to 80 guys still on our draft board before round 4. So why not add some of those guys for training camp and see what they can do. We added some guys by the name of UTSA linebacker Childs Wiley, Oregon quarterback Anthony Brown, Florida linebacker Jeremiah Moon, San Diego State University offensive tackle Aaron Johnson, Oregon receiver Devin Williams, Auburn linebacker Jacoby McLean, NC State running back Ricky Person, NC State wide receiver Amika Amazi, Navy linebacker Diego Fago, Villanova cornerback Denzel Williams, Cal receiver Trayvon Clark, Michigan linebacker Josh Ross, Stephen F. Austin D lineman Rashad Nichols, Georgia State safety Chris Moore, Mississippi State wide receiver Makai Polk, Auburn offensive lineman Brodarius Ham, and quarterback Trey Ford, and Alabama wide receiver Slade Bolden. Some ideas off the top of my head. We are looking to address the need of linebacker and receiver more than anything. We signed another probable special teamer named Chris Moore. We signed Amika Amazi, who's slow but probably has the best hands in the draft. We signed multiple quarterbacks, so maybe they're trying to find a quarterback 3 job for one of them. We signed Florida linebacker Jeremiah Moon, who should have gone in the 5th round, or even got drafted at some point, so that's a steal. We signed Michigan linebacker Josh Ross, so I'm hoping that we have an inside scoop with Jim Harbaugh's brother as head coach and Michigan's DC as our DC. And finally, we signed Alabama's Slade Bolden. Now, Slade Bolden is probably the most intriguing guy out of our UDFAs because he is an excellent route runner in a, well, let's just say youthful Ravens receiving corps. I'm assuming that the reason we didn't draft him was because of his character red flags. Let's just say he likes to party. Leave it at that. Think of it this way. He won't be a draft bust because we didn't draft him. UDFAs get a grade A. Overall, I would like to give our draft a A+. At the end of the draft, I think we did the best out of any team. Big shocker. I'm hoping that our first rounds become something special and our late rounders become late round gems. Ever since EDC has drafted, he really hasn't hit on anything except Dobbins, Queen, and maybe Bateman and OA, but the jury's still out on those two. I was hoping for a draft that solidified his position at GM, and this draft did it for me. In EDC, we trust.